Today I want to give you an updated tour of my garage gym and home gym. I think this is probably about a mid-range gym, but I do have a pretty good amount of equipment. And this bonus room right here was supposed to just be a cardio room, and obviously that was an epic fail as I'm starting to bring more and more strength training equipment in here. So if you hang with me through the whole video, after this overview is over, I'm going to do a mini review on each machine. I'm going to also point out some of the things that I've learned about the equipment, such as the seated leg curl leg extension. I removed that stop pin, and now the machine can be switched out from leg curl to leg extension without any problem at all. I do see some gyms that look more like a piece of art than fitness equipment, and I thought about selling a lot of this equipment and upgrading to a top-of-the-line Rogue or a top-of-the-line Sorinex. But what would really be the net gain of that? I wouldn't get any bigger, I wouldn't get any stronger, and I wouldn't have as much variety in my equipment. So I just don't think in the long run it would be worth it. And also, I don't really show this to be braggadocious or anything like that. I do just want to show everyone different layouts and to suggest equipment that I think is worth your money. Here you see my DVD collection, all of the Battle for the Olympias, and of course no home gym would be complete without a Ronnie Coleman Iron Idol. Here's the garage gym. So to have all of this, I do sacrifice a lot. I don't have internet at the house. I don't have cable at the house. I had the same phone for about 6 years. I don't go out to eat. I don't drink alcohol. So all of those expenses add up over time, and I'm able to eliminate those expenses and just put that money into my home gym. And there's a whole saying that where your money goes, your focus and energy flows. And so most of my spare money is obviously going into this home gym because I want my focus and energy to be on this channel, Home Gym Hacks and Reviews, and of course strength training and getting better at my favorite hobby. So I hope you enjoy this tour, and now I'm going to start breaking down each piece of equipment that I have. I'll start with the Rogue Echo bike and then work my way counterclockwise around the room. This Echo bike is the most difficult form of cardio I've ever done. I wrestled in high school, did martial arts and all the sparring, and it doesn't compare to how difficult this machine is. And I got it for about $800. The seat can be adjusted horizontally and vertically. One of the only real complaints that I have are these plastic knobs feel a little bit cheap. Other than that, the bike feels pretty sturdy. I have heard complaints about these arms wiggling a little bit during movement, so what I would recommend is tightening from the back instead of tightening it from the front. I would like to see Rogue have a way to keep these arms locked so you could just use the leg portion of the machine, and I do highly recommend getting that wind guard. When I've used this machine without the wind guard, basically all the pictures on my wall feel like they're going to fly off. Here's the body solid, compact weight tree. Great piece of equipment. Moving on to the seated Titan Fitness leg extension leg curl. As you can see, I took the pin out and the machine works great. Now that I've removed that stop pin, I can't understand why Titan Fitness included it. It doesn't seem to have any effect on the machine, and it allows you to much more easily go between leg extension and leg curl. So I'm glad that I removed it. I still have the pin just in case for some reason I find out that it needs to go back on there, but it's an easy solution to a problem that a lot of people have had with this machine. Another complaint that people have stated regarding this machine is that the strength curve isn't all that even. So for example, in the starting position, the resistance isn't all that hard, but it gets harder as you go through the movement. I don't really have that issue. I feel like the muscular fatigue that I experienced during the leg extension and leg curl is good all through the entire range of motion of the machine. And then the other complaint that I've heard about this machine is that you feel a little more muscular fatigue in the leg that is closest to the actual plate. And it may be in my head, but I do feel a little more muscular fatigue in the leg that's closer to the plate. But it's not enough to make me regret buying this machine. and I still feel nearly, if not the same amount of muscular fatigue in the leg that's farther away from the plate that's being moved. There is some wobble, and that's just because the seat is adjustable. The back pad, there's no wobble at all. With the seat in the bottom position, you have not quite 9 inches between the bottom seat and the roller pad. I could rig a band on the roller pad and that part of the frame right there if I want a resistance in the starting position, but this machine, I feel like, gives me a resistance in basically the full range of movement. If I wanted to add a band to the leg curl, I would need to put a band somewhere over here for my anchor point, and then I would be able to get resistance with a band. But again, I don't need to do that for the leg curl portion of this machine either, because I feel like the range of motion is pretty consistent all the way throughout. Next up is the Rogue Abram 2.0. This machine was $870. It arrived over the course of 3 days, so each day I would come outside and there would be a new box until that final day when all the pieces were here and I was able to put it together. The machine is exceptionally well built. I would like to see Rogue include some band pegs for free on this thing because it is as expensive as it is. It does come with wheels, unlike the GHD1. And if you find this movement difficult, you can try this stick trick that I'm doing here. But I will say, out of all of the posterior chain machines that I have, the seated leg curl, the prone leg curl, this by far feels the most difficult, but at the same time the most beneficial. Unlike the Rogue GHD1, these roller pads can be moved vertically, and then you have your swing arm. Next up, the Concept 2 Ski Erg. I really like using this machine on upper body push days because it does a really good job of warming up the triceps and the shoulders. I had the Streamline Functional Trainer right here in this space, and I ended up selling that strictly to purchase this machine right here. I think with the stand it was just a little over $1,000, and I'm happy with the purchase. I'm glad that I got rid of the functional trainer in order to have this piece of equipment right here. And being that it's Concept 2, you know that it's extremely well built. And you can do one arm at a time, but I just usually stick with 2 arms at a time. And now we come to one of my most favorite pieces of equipment in my home gym, the Titan Fitness HPND. First, I know there are some people who say that this machine is not beneficial. I am not one of those people. I use it on almost a daily basis, especially on leg day. I feel this machine has helped me tremendously with posterior strength. I ended up buying this machine for right at $600. It arrived over the course of 2 days. It shipped FedEx in 2 boxes. Now, I originally had Rogue's base model reverse hyper in the basket to buy. But before I pulled the trigger on it, I did notice that Rogue's comes fully assembled and on a pallet. And that was reason enough for me not to make the purchase, because this had to come up a flight of stairs into my bonus room, and I did not want to take apart a brand new piece of equipment. And it saved me a lot of money going with the Titan model, and I actually couldn't be happier with this. I did want to have more Rogue equipment, but in the end it just wasn't worth it. So this Titan piece right here can be used obviously to do the reverse hyper movement. Sometimes I have my heels pushed together, sometimes I separate the heels. As you can see here, I'm doing one leg at a time to target each side of the body individually so that one side doesn't overpower the other during the movement. And this feels effective. It's a good movement to incorporate into your training if you're only doing 2 legs at a time. I've seen some people do like upright rows and some other core type movements with this. I don't have the space to do that, but it is a decent option. And this machine can also be used for leg extensions. I find that doing one leg at a time is a little more effective than doing both at the same time. And it's a fine movement, and I thought for a while that I would be able to just have this as my only leg extension movement. But over time I saw that it wasn't going to be quite effective enough for me. So that's why I went ahead and purchased the prone and seated leg extension leg curl machines. Moving on to the XMark seated calf raise. This is a pretty good machine. I got it for under $300 on Amazon a couple of years ago. I did paint it black, and I think the machine looks a lot better black than it does gray, and I like for all of my equipment to be black. But this is a really good movement right here. It allows you a deep stretch when you're doing the seated calf raise. It can be loaded with a lot of weight because those weight horns are extremely long. But I feel it's a valuable movement, and it's a machine worth having in any home gym if you have space for it. Next up, the Titan Fitness back extension. Of all the Titan pieces I have, this one is probably the most cheaply built, but at $120, who can really complain? I know the machine has gone up a little bit in cost, but I use this machine pretty regularly for back extensions and hip extensions, and then this movement right here, which is almost like a GHD style movement that I saw Jason Wojo use in one of his DC videos. So overall, again, I'm really glad that I have this machine here. Next, the tried and true Concept 2 rower. This machine was right at $1,000. This was one of those machines I had to watch on Rogue's website because it was always out of stock, but when it popped up, I got it right away. I use this machine mainly to warm up on my upper body pull days, and it's really good for that. I feel like it activates the lats, the rhomboids, rear delts pretty well. I don't do a whole lot of cardio because I have so much trouble keeping weight on, but I do use all of these cardio pieces for my warm-up. I do see some people doing that high pull, and that's mainly just to get a few more meters during each stroke. I normally stick with just a low pull. This is a well-built piece of equipment. As most of you know, there are plenty of reviews on this machine. And sometimes, from time to time, I'll keep my feet out of the equation and then just do this movement to further warm up my upper body, where I'll do a pronated pull, and I'll even switch over to a supinated pull just to activate different muscles a little more. Next, the Titan Fitness prone leg extension leg curl. I'm not exaggerating. Getting on this machine is a little difficult. I'm 5'9", and I find it difficult without the stool that I have. Right now I'm showing one of the biggest flaws with this machine, and this is really only an issue if you do this without weight, and that's this arm will get stuck in this top position. But I'm going to show you a couple of ways to prevent that, and one being actually having weight on there. I have the step stool in place, which makes getting on the machine a lot easier. I have a 25-pound plate on there, and this movement is smooth. And as you can see, it's not getting stuck in that top position. I'm even trying to get that arm stuck in the top position, and it's not happening. And switching between leg extension and leg curl on this machine is obviously very easy. There are 2 adjustments for the leg curl, but there's only 1 adjustment for the leg extension. I thought that was kind of interesting. So I guess if you really needed to make another adjustment for the leg extension, you could drill a hole. It's easy to add a band to this machine. Just wrap it around the frame on itself and then stick it over the weight horn. This will help keep the arm from getting caught in that stop position if it's happening on your model. And it just adds a little more resistance in the starting position, especially for those people who like the strength curve of adding a band into the movement. It feels comfortable. It feels good. It feels effective. I don't really use a band on this machine much, but I just wanted to show that it was something that can be done. And it's equally as effective for leg extensions as it is for leg curls. Now moving down to the garage gym, starting with the Powertec compact leg sled. Here I am doing calf work on the calf block. I get a lot of questions about this machine, and most of them are regarding if I'm still experiencing the rubbing that I mentioned in my previous review, and I am, and it's not something that I can fix, but I am willing to tolerate the sound of that rubbing because I do feel the machine is extremely effective for quads. And it's easy to switch out from working calves to quads. I just removed the calf block, and now I'm moving on to one of the most effective leg movements that I have in my equipment arsenal, this press right here. No lower back pain, no knee pain. And another reason I like this machine is because on that platform right there, you can adjust your foot position. Here I have wide, moving on to a high narrow stance if I want to target a different muscle. And here I am doing one leg at a time. And all of this feels good and effective, and all the more reason why I keep this machine and put up with that grinding sound that I experience. Moving on to the Titan Fitness rear delt pec fly machine. I really like this machine. As I mentioned, I had the Powertec Streamline Functional Trainer, and I would do flies on that, but I like doing flies on this a lot more. I did make the modification with increasing the range of movement by drilling a hole into the top of the machine, and it made a big difference. Here I'm showing a variety of different movements for the rear delt just by adjusting your hand on the handle. This is probably my most favorite and effective of all of them, with the thumb pointing down. And switching out from rear delt to pec fly is extremely easy. There's just a pin that you pull down and then adjust the arms. The machine has a really small footprint, especially if you have the arms moved towards the back of the machine. And this movement feels very effective. But you'll have to load it heavy because this is 90 and it feels light. Here you see the settings for the arms of the machine. I went ahead and used the silver Sharpie to mark each setting. So I drilled a hole to improve the range of motion on the rear delt portion of the machine. MC Titan, who's a wild and crazy guy on YouTube, and I recommend checking him out if you get a chance. He has a really funny take on doing reviews. But anyway, he mentioned that this machine could be adjusted without drilling a hole if you move the stop pin outside of the range of motion selector. And while I think that is an option, I'm a little bit leery to do it, and I was leery to do it, which is why I drilled the holes. But if you look, the pin, if you put it in this position, rests up against the frame. At least on my particular machine it does. And I'm worried that at some point I'm going to end up breaking that knob off because it's resting directly against the frame of the machine. And this is what it looks like from this angle for anyone who wants to try what MC Titan recommended. Again, an option, but I feel a little bit safer drilling that hole in there like I did. Here I have my dumbbell collection, and I have quite a few plates. I have dumbbells going from 8 all the way to 95. And I do and did have a leg up on starting my home gym compared to a lot of people, because all of my plates and dumbbells were handed down to me from my dad, whereas some dads hand down watches or cars. Fortunately for me, my dad and I had the same interest in weight training, and he handed down all of his plates and dumbbells to me. Next, the 2019 Powertec Lever Gym, one of my most favorite pieces of equipment. I have 2 videos on this machine reviewing it and showing hacks that can be done. I can't say enough good things about this, and I'm super glad that I have it. Here's just one, or actually 3, of the many exercises that can be done with this machine. I'm going to do a triple set for triceps. So there used to be an old Cybex multi-station machine where you stood backwards and did the tricep push down, which was my first movement. Here, an overhead tricep extension where my body is braced up against the roller pads so I can move more weight this way. And then I'll just simply turn around for the final of the 3 and do a traditional tricep push down. I don't use my TRX much, only like for 3 movements, but I do like using that anchor point to attach my Walmart knockoff mag grips to and doing pull-ups this way. Traditional pull-ups are really starting to hurt my elbows and shoulders, but this feels extremely effective, and I don't experience any pain at all in my elbows or shoulders or wrists. Here are the Rogue change plates. I did a review on these. I love these. They've held up very well. The only issue is that you might experience a little bit of rubbing and wear from where it slides over the dumbbell handle. But I use these things from everything to dumbbell curl, to chest press, to overhead press, and they're well worth the money they cost. A quick hack that I've seen others use is to get an extra set of J-cups and put your safety squat bar in it like I did here. It's just so hard to move the safety squat bar in and out of the squat rack. And over here, my collection of bars. I don't have many bars. I'm not a person who uses a straight bar for anything at this stage in the game. My joints and elbows, wrists, shoulders just don't like a straight bar anymore. But I do like the multi-grip bar for pressing movements. And this rackable hex bar is new to me. I'll do a review on it here shortly. I also have an old tricep bar and an old easy curl bar. They don't get a lot of use either though. And then I have my shelf with all of my attachments. Everything has its own carabiner just so that it's easy to get on and off of the equipment. It's easy to use that way. Another quick hack for storing the squat bar that comes on the lever gym, I just pop the cap out of that upright and then slides right into the upright. Easy storage. I have the 2019 Powertec Power Rack. It's good for my needs. I paid roughly $800 for it at the time of purchase. It is an improvement over their older models, as it does have more holes, and in the bench press area the holes are closer together. I did get quite a few add-ons for the machine: the landmine attachment, the safety spotter arms, band pegs, and then these plate storage horns on each side. Today it was 50 degrees in the garage gym, and that's about as cold as it gets. I do heat it with that little thing right there, and it doesn't put out a lot of heat, but it does okay. And then having stall mats on the floor helps some. If I just had concrete, it would be even colder in here. And then on the garage door, I have the radiant barrier. That helps a little bit, especially during the summer. I got those panels off of Amazon for maybe $200 at the time. Thanks everyone for watching. I hope that I helped you answer some questions that you may have had about some of the equipment that I just covered. If you liked the video, if you found anything helpful, please like and subscribe to my channel. Thanks everyone.